is at the end of the session, the student should be able to first be familiar with the different materials for reinforced concrete. Number two, understand the concept of flexural behavior of beams. So, as I've said, we are going to discuss today different materials that we use for reinforced concrete. That is basically concrete plus steel. So, a little bit of review from your construction materials. So, ConMat po tayo, a little bit of review. And then, we're going to discuss the flexural behavior of beams. Kailan po kaya nagka-crack si beam? What is the moment na kailangan natin para po mag-crack si beam? So, we're going to, and lastly, for our last intended learning outcomes, we're going to calculate the cracking moment of a beam. So, this will be our intended learning outcomes for today. So first of all, let's talk about the advantage of reinforced concrete. So as I've said, basically the most common material in construction po is reinforced concrete. We always use reinforced concrete. That is because of the numerous advantage it presents. So marami po kasing advantages is reinforced concrete. And one of the advantages is it has high compressive strength per unit cost. So ano po yung high compressive strength per unit cost? Concrete is very good in compression, no? Alam po natin 'yan. So concrete actually is very good in compression. Concrete is very good in compression, and since it is actually has a very high compressive capacity, so at the same time, aside from having a very high compressive capacity, at the same time, it is very economical. Mura po, ano? In comparison with steel, structural steel, for example, I-beam, structural hollow section, if you're done with steel, naintindihan nyo po yung I-beam, no? Basically, meron po tayong I-beam sa steel. So these materials are also very good in compressive strength. However, they have high cost. Mas mahal po yung bakal kaysa sa concrete. So basically, concrete has high compressive strength with economical costs, no? Economical costs. Number two, it has great resistance. It has great resistance for water and fire. So actually, for structures that are near body of water, concrete is the first choice of material. So sir, bakit po? Because steel has high tendency to rust near bodies of water, no? So yung mga bakal po, for example, I-beam, structural steel, it has high percentage of rusting. Madali po siyang mangalawang kapag malapit sa body of water. Kapag malapit po yun sa body of water, madaling kumalawang. That is why nawi-weaken po yung structural integrity ng material. However, for reinforced concrete, the members, the concrete is has very high resistance now when it comes to fire. So hindi po napapasok yung loob. Hindi po nagbabago yung strength natin when exposed to fire and also with water. Okay? So, yep. So aside from that, structural steel also weakens when exposed to fire. Na humihina po yung mga steel natin kapag umiinit. Kaya nga po yung kapag gusto nating pagdugtungin yung dalawang bakal, ang ginagawa natin welding. And welding is a type of heating. Iniinit yon para magdikit po yung dalawang bakal. So basically, if you have a fire on your building and you use a steel material, it has a tendency to weaken when exposed to fire, no? And concrete is not. So concrete has high resistance. The material is very rigid. So ibig sabihin po, bulky. Bulky po yung ating material. So actually, one of the advantage of structural steel is it is very magaan po, ano? It's very maliit po yung weight niya in comparison to concrete. However, if you really need the volume, for example, just like dam, for those structures like dam. Sa dam po, sa mga retaining wall, kailangan natin ng malalaking volume in order to avoid overturning para hindi bumaliktad yung structure natin. And what you need there is a rigid material, and that comes concrete, no? Kaya po pumapasok sa atin si concrete. Low maintenance material. Basically, again, in comparison with structural steel, steel needs to be painted. Ang mga bakal po kailangan laging pinipintahan. Why do you think so? Bakit po yung mga bakal laging dapat pintahan? Bakit po kaya yung mga bakal kailangan pintahan? Okay, so para hindi po madaling kalawangin. So in order to avoid rusting, no? So again, if you're going to install structural steel, pinipinturahan po 'yon para hindi kalawangin, and at the same time, after some time, you go back. Tingnan mo po kung may kalawang. Kapag may kalawang, pinturahan mo ulit. So there's maintenance. Kailangan nyo pong i-maintain yung structural steel. In comparison with reinforced concrete, it's very low maintenance. So hindi nyo na po kailangan pintahan, no? It also has long service life. Ibig sabihin, it has it can be used for a very long time. Did you know that the strength of concrete that you use, for example, at the time of casting, ang strength niya is 28 megapascal. Ang in-specify mo po sa plano, 28 MPa. But actually, due time, as hydration happens, yun po yung tinatawag natin sa concrete, no? Due time, the strength of concrete increases. So habang lumuluma po yung concrete, mas lalo pa siyang lumalakas. So it has very long service life, no? Most economical material for slab, footings, basement, walls, and other similar application. So as you can see, if you need the volume, for example, for those large volume members, such as slab, footings, and basement, the first choice of material is basically concrete. Large volume members. It can also be casted into different variety of shapes. So structural steel, again, in comparison, structural steel have an assigned shape. So kung I-beam, I po yung section nun. Kung square section, square po yung section nun. But for reinforced concrete, if the architect requires different shape because of the aesthetic requirements, the concrete can be casted into different shapes. So again, another advantage. The raw materials are inexpensive and mostly available everywhere. The raw materials for creating concrete basically is cement, water, sand, aggregates. So all of those are basically available everywhere. It can be easily procured. So madali po yung procurement. Lastly, lower skill for labor is needed for erection. This is true because the most common job for a construction worker is basically pouring of concrete, no? So you don't need skilled labor to do concrete casting. However, for some other cases, for example, for steel structures, sometimes you do need a skilled labor, especially for connection purposes, no? Kapag kailangan niyo pong mag-erect ng mga special connection. Okay? So those are the advantage of reinforced concrete. So basically, as I've said, reinforced concrete is composed of concrete and steel. So let's talk about concrete po muna. Concrete is the combination of sand, gravel, crushed rock, or other aggregates held together in a rock-like mass with paste of cement and water. Basically, what holds the concrete together is the cement. Yan po yung parang pinaka-paste. Yan po yung nag-hold sa concrete natin. This is what we call the binder, no? One moment. Okay, sorry for that. Let's continue. So again, talking about concrete. So what holds the concrete together is actually the cement plus water. This is actually your binder paste. So basically what forms the concrete is we have cement, and then you add water, plus you add the aggregates, and you will form your concrete, no? This will form the concrete. So the aggregates will basically be two types. There are two types of aggregates, which is actually fine and coarse aggregate, no? So you have the fine and the coarse aggregate. Basically, what is the fine aggregate that we use in concrete? Ano po yung fine aggregate doon? What is the fine aggregate that we use in concrete? Basically, we have the sand, no? And for coarse, you have the gravel, right? For coarse, you have the gravel. So sometimes one or more admixtures are added to certain characteristics of the concrete, such as workability, durability, and time of hardening. So in most projects po, especially for big projects, adding admixtures is very common. Kapag po big project, adding admixtures is very common, especially if your concrete is coming from a batching plant. Kapag po yung concrete mo manggagaling pa sa batching plant and you have a long travel time, so sometimes they add super plasticizer to increase the workability, to increase the strength. Basically, when we talk about workability, yan po yung madaling haluin. Madali pong iporma. That is the workability of concrete, no? Workability. So, yeah. So, workability. How do we test the workability po again? What is the test that we use in the construction site to test the workability? What is that test? Miss Tricia Uson? Miss Tricia Uson? We have the slump test. That is correct. So we have the slump test. Basically, you use a conical cone. Gamit ka po ng conical cone, lalagyan mo ng concrete sa loob, and then you thump it, right? Naalala po ba kung ilang beses natin dapat i-thump yung concrete? How many times do you need to thump? 25 times. That is correct. 25 po yung itatamp nyo po yung concrete para ma-compact. Para po ma-compact, and then add ka po ulit, no? And then bitawan mo po yung concrete para sumabog. Okay? Then i-measure mo kung ano po yung pagbagsak ng concrete, and that will be your workability test. The slump test. That is correct. To test the workability, you use slump test. So anyway, as I've said, the concrete is actually composed of cement, the aggregates, the water, and your admixture. And we need to determine the composition of this concrete, no? Kung ilan po yung cement, how many aggregates, how many water, how many admixture. So basically, dito na po pumapasok yung ating concrete mix design. And the very common concrete mix design that is being used is 1:2:4, right? 1:2:4. And what is 1? Ano po yung unang number this pertains to? This pertains to? That is that is a concrete mix. Ano po yung unang number? That is cement. The second number is, what's the second number? We have sand. Sand po muna. And then lastly, we have the gravel. Okay? So cement, gravel, cement, sand, and gravel. So we have the cement, the sand, and the gravel. And then basically water to cement ratio, and then you will just need a water cement ratio. Water cement ratio is around 0.4 to 0.6. If you have if you want a starting water cement ratio, 0.5 is good. Okay na po yung 0.5, no? Water cement ratio of 0.5. And yeah, so after you cast the concrete, after you actually pour the concrete, you need to cure the concrete. When we say curing, curing is actually performed by submerging the specimen underwater. This is done in order to prevent moisture loss. Rapid moisture loss leads to cracking and loss of strength of the concrete specimen. So basically, as this said, what's written here is that after po natin ma-pour si concrete, we need to provide moisture. Kailangan po natin basain. Kapag sa site po yan, binabasa. Kapag naman po concrete specimen, or I'm sure na hindi nyo po naranasan to sa construction materials, no? Kasi nga, hindi po kayo nakapag-laboratory. But kung sa laboratory po ito gagawin, yung mga concrete specimen, concrete cylinder, what you need to do is to submerge it in water. Meron po tayong tinatawag na curing tank. Meron pong curing tank, ilalagay natin doon yung mga specimen, ilulubog nyo po iyon. And then, that is to prevent moisture loss, rapid moisture loss, kasi pwede pong mag-crack yung concrete kapag mabilis po siyang mag-loss ng moisture. So, okay. So, what is the phenomena na nangyayari po kung bakit nagkakaroon ng moisture loss ang concrete when casted? What's that phenomena? Naalala po ba 'yon sa CONMAT? Ano po yung nangyayari sa concrete kapag nakast na natin kaya po siya nawawalan ng moisture? So, 'di ba kapag kakakas ng concrete, hinawakan mo 'yon, mainit. Ano po yung nangyayari kaya doon sa loob ng concrete? What's that phenomena? Ano po tawag doon? Naalala po ba? Nag-start sa letter H? Nag-start sa letter H? How about Miss Mariah Kelly? Mary Ann Maceda? Noela Mandap? Naalala po ba? That is hydration. That is correct, hydration. So, as your concrete experiences hydration, it actually removes moisture. So, kapag kakakas po ng concrete natin, nagkakaroon ng hydration process, that is why it removes moisture from itself. So, tinatanggal niya po yung moisture. However, because kapag po mabilis matanggal yung moisture, it can cause concrete cracking. Pwede po mag-crack si concrete. That is why we need to provide curing. Kaya po tayo nagko-cure. So basically, hydration is also responsible for concrete strength. So it is also responsible for gaining concrete strength. So habang nangyayari po yung hydration, nawawala yung moisture, lumalakas naman po yung concrete natin. So that is a good thing, no? So habang nag-hydration, lumalakas po yung concrete natin. And it is actually expected that at 28 days, you have the maximum strength of your concrete. Okay? At 28 days, you have the maximum strength of your concrete. So once you cast your concrete, you need to test what is the strength of your concrete. So the testing of concrete to determine the strength of the concrete, of the casted concrete, is in accordance with ASTM C39. That is the standard method for compressive strength of cylindrical concrete specimen. So what you need to do is you get a sample of the concrete na kinas mo. Kuha ka po ng sample nun. You create a concrete cylinder that is basically the concrete cylinder with a height of 300 mm and a diameter of 150. So you create a concrete cylinder, you go to the laboratory. So after curing, kapag na-cure na po natin yung concrete, you go to the laboratory to test to test your concrete. So you put it in a machine. What do we call to this machine? Ano po yung tawag natin sa machine na yan? That machine is used to test concrete, steel, and any other specimen po. What do we call to that machine? Familiar po ba? We have the UTM. That is correct. This is the Universal Testing Machine. This is our UTM, no? So, so basically, once you created your sample that is 150 diameter with 300 mm height, you go to the laboratory, you put it in the universal testing machine, and then you apply load. Mag-a-apply po ng load si machine. Mag-a-apply po ng increasing load. This will be an increasing load until the concrete breaks. So, increasing po yung load na yan, increasing na load, hanggang sa mag-break si concrete. So, maybe you watch a video during your ConMat class. Siguro nung nag-take po kayo ng construction material, pinanood nyo yung video kung paano mag-test ng concrete cylinder. Basically, kapag nagte-test po tayo ng concrete cylinder, kapag na-reach niya na yung maximum strength niya, bigla po yung sumasabog. Naaalala po ba yon? Biglang sumasabog po yung concrete kapag na-reach na yung maximum load niya. Naalala po ba yon? So, kapag nag-crack po yung concrete, bigla po yung sumasabog. So, nagkakaroon po na parang boom, gumaganon po yung ating concrete cylinder. So, why do you think that happens? Bakit po nangyayari yun? Why does the concrete suddenly breaks when we apply, when it reaches its maximum strength? Bakit po kaya bigla siyang nagfe-fail? Because concrete is actually a brittle material, no? Concrete is a brittle material. When we say brittle material, once it reaches its maximum strength, it will have a sudden failure. So ano po yung sudden failure? So parang skyflakes. Kuha ka po ng skyflakes. So kuha ka ng skyflakes, brittle po 'yan, no? So kapag kinrack mo po yung skyflakes, bigla-bigla na lang pong masisira 'yon. So that is brittle material. That is brittle material. It cannot handle deformation, no? Once it reaches its maximum strength, bigla na lang pong nasisira. And that is concrete. Concrete is a brittle material that has sudden failure. Okay? It has sudden failure. So basically, to calculate the strength of your concrete, you have the maximum load applied, the maximum load recorded by the the UTM. You have the maximum load divided by the area of the specimen. The area of the specimen is basically pi over 4 by 150 squared because the diameter is 150. So you will get, you can now calculate the FC prime. That will be your FC prime. So the strength that is available in the market, that you can order in the market, the lowest available strength is 17 megapascal. This is according to NSCP. So according to the NSCP, the lowest available strength is actually 17 megapascal. We also have 21 megapascal. We also have 28 megapascal. And we have 34 megapascal. So 21 megapascal is 1 KSI. 28 megapascal is not 1 KSI. This way is 3 KSI. This is 3 KSI. This is 4 KSI. And 34 megapascal is 5 KSI. So KSI po is kips per square inch. So basically 1 KSI is equal to 6.895 megapascal. So that is how you calculate the strength of the concrete by testing it in the laboratory. No? So you go to the laboratory, basically this is construction materials. Okay? So if we're going to plot the result of the test, you will get the stress strain diagram. So this is the stress strain diagram of concrete. So let's recall what we learned in construction materials, no, or in mechanics of material. So basically, if you plot the stress and strain at the beginning of the load, the stress and the strain increase is actually linear. So we have a linear increase. In stress versus strain. And then after you reach the proportionality limit, it will divert into a nonlinear curve. And then once you reach this is proportionality limit, this is elastic limit. Once you reach elastic limit, beyond elastic limit, you will have permanent deformation. So meron ka na po ditong permanent deformation. Kaya po naka-curve na yan. So lumalabas na yung mga crack po dyan. And then once you reach C, which is your rupture point, the concrete will now break. So now the C is actually your ultimate point, not the rupture point. This is your ultimate point. The concrete will now break. Diyan na po sasabog yung concrete. And the maximum stress in that point is actually your FC prime. That is your FC prime. FC prime is the maximum compressive strength of your concrete. Okay? So after the maximum compressive strength, you now have a strength degradation. So bababa na po yung strength natin after the ultimates, after FC prime. So bababa na yung strength. So basically, this is the stress strain diagram of concrete. And we can now calculate the modulus of elasticity of concrete. The modulus of elasticity of concrete is the slope of the stress strain diagram. EC, or the modulus of elasticity, Young's modulus, if you still remember that one. The modulus of elasticity is basically the ratio of the stress over the strain, no? Stress over the strain. So if you have the data coming from the laboratory, you can calculate the modulus of elasticity. However, NSCP 2015 also provides empirical formula in order to approximate the modulus of elasticity. Okay? So you can approximate the modulus of elasticity according to NSCP 2015. So for normal weight concrete, which is around 2,300 kilogram per square meter, the modulus of elasticity is actually given as 4,700 lambda square root of FC prime. Lambda is 1.0 for normal weight concrete, and it will be 0.75 for lightweight concrete. No? So basically, this is our formula if you want to approximate the modulus of elasticity according to NSCP 2015. For other weights naman, if that is not normal weight, hindi po siya 2,300, you can calculate the modulus of elasticity according to the given weight. So if you have the weight, WC, you will input WC in terms of kilogram per cubic meter, and then you will input FC prime in terms of megapascal. So you will have the value in terms of megapascal, no? So for other weights, that is EC is equal to WC multiplied by 0.043 square root of FC prime. Again, lambda is 1.0 and lambda is 0.75 for lightweight. No? Okay. So going back to our stress strain diagram, if we go back to stress strain diagram, you can notice that below the proportionality limit, we have a linear stress strain relationship. So meron po tayo ditong linear stress strain relationship. And that part right here, that part right there, yung linear zone, saan po ulit, saang methodology natin gagamitin po yung linear part? Where do we use that? Saang methodology ng design? How about Mr. Denzel? Can I call on Mr. Denzel? Mr. Denzel. Okay, Denzel is here. Denzel, saan po saang methodology natin gagamitin yung linear part ng stress strain diagram? Anong design methodology, Denzel? Denzel. In what design methodology are we going to use the linear part of the stress strain diagram? How about Bombita? How about Bombita? What's the answer, Denzel? Bombita is not here. Jane is not answering me. Bombita is not answering me, no? So absent po 'yan, no? It's not enough that you are here inside. Dapat po nagpa-participate. If you're not participating, then you're not present. That's the simple rule that I have, no? Arnold Bondok, are you here? Okay, so according to Arnold, which is actually correct, that will be used in Bondok. That will be used in WSD, no? So Bondok or Arnold is actually correct. So ang linear po natin, the linear part is actually going to be used for WSD, working stress design. So the linear part of the stress strain diagram will be used for the working stress design. Gagamitin po natin yan sa working stress design. And you will notice that once we go to WSD. However, basically, until the maximum stress or the maximum stress, which is FC prime, we will use that for ultimate strength design. So yung pinakamataas po, we are going to use that for USD. So yung linear, that is for WSD, and the whole curve, we're going to use that for ultimate strength design. Modulus of rupture is actually defined as 0.62 lambda square root of FC prime in megapascal. So what is modulus of rupture? Basically, modulus of rupture is the tensile stress. This is your tensile stress when the concrete cracks in tension. So modulus of rupture is the tensile stress when the concrete cracks in tension. So basically, ito po yung stress natin kapag nagsimula nang mag-crack yung concrete. So yan yung stress mo kapag nagkaroon ka na ng cracking. So according to NSCP, you can estimate that stress by a simple empirical formula, 0.62 lambda square root of FC prime. So you can now calculate the modulus of rupture. However, the modulus of rupture cannot just be determined by empirical formula. We can also determine the modulus of rupture in the laboratory. So if you want to determine the modulus of rupture in the laboratory, you need to follow ASTM C78. So ASTM C78 is the standard method for flexural strength of concrete. So basically what you need to do po sa ASTM C78 is to create a beam specimen. Gagawa po kayo ng beam specimen. Gawa kayo ng concrete specimen that we have a concrete specimen of around 150 by 150 by 750. And then you are going to put it in the universal testing machine. Again, ilalagay po natin sa UTM. So this will be your specimen. This will be your specimen. And then you will have a 2-point loading. Ibig sabihin po ng 2-point loading, meron po tayong dalawang point kung saan matatransfer yung load. So we have P over 2 and P over 2. So P over 2 and P over 2. And then we will apply the load until the concrete cracks in tension. So mag-a-apply po tayo ng load dyan. Increase po natin yung load until na mag-crack si concrete specimen. So basically, if we're going to idealize, this will be our concrete specimen. So we have P over 2 on the left side and P over 2 on the right side. Meron ka pong dalawang P over 2 located at L over 3. So basically, if you want to calculate the shear diagram will be, you have a reaction po dito, P over 2. Reaction mo ulit, P over 2. So you have P over 2, P over 2, P over 2 po. So this will be your shear diagram. This is your shear diagram. That is your shear diagram. And then if we want to calculate the moment diagram, you just take the area of the shear diagram. Kuhanin lang po natin yung area. This is L over 3. This is also L over 3. L over 3. So calculating the area of the shear diagram, you have basically P over 2 multiplied by L over 3. So this is your maximum moment. The maximum moment, according to our shear and moment diagram, the maximum moment is PL over 6. So in order to calculate the stress, we need to use the simple formula MC over I. So alam po natin that if this is simply supported, the top part is actually in compression and the bottom part is actually in tension. So the top part of the beam is actually in compression. Naka-compression po yan. The bottom part is in tension. So if we want to calculate for the tension stress, kung kailan po magka-crack yung concrete, we need to calculate for the tensile stress. Calculate natin yung tensile stress. Tensile stress is equal to moment MC over I. I don't know if you still remember this simple formula, but basically this is from mechanics of material, no? M is the moment. C is the distance from neutral axis to tension, extreme tension fiber. I is the moment of inertia. So if you want to calculate for the tension stress, kung kailan po magka-crack yung concrete, the moment is PL over 6 as defined. The maximum moment is PL over 6. The distance from the neutral axis to the extreme tension fiber is basically kalahati po ng ating kalahati ng depth. So that will be D over 2 divided by the moment of inertia. The moment of inertia is BH cube over 12. BH cube over 12 for a basically for a rectangular beam. So the moment of inertia is BH cube over 12. So if we are going to simplify the maximum tensile stress based on the result of a standard method for flexural strength of concrete using the value P recorded is PL over BD. No? PL over BD. So that is how we determine the maximum tension stress or the modulus of rupture. Yan po yung modulus of rupture natin. Again, ano na nga po yung modulus of rupture? What is the modulus of rupture? If tinanong po sa inyo, engineer, ano na nga yung modulus of rupture? What is a simple definition of the modulus of rupture? So, Mr. Tristan. Tristan Kabangangan? What is a simple definition of this modulus of rupture? Tensile strength kung kailan po magka-crack si concrete. So, you need to, kailangan nyo po bubuin, no? The modulus of rupture is basically the tensile strength where the concrete cracks in tension. Tensile stress when the concrete cracks in tension. Okay? So, a simple question is why do we need to provide steel in concrete? Bakit po ba natin kailangan mag-provide ng steel? Iniisa-isa ko na po kayo, no, para makita ko kung nagpa-participate kayo. How about Mr. Campit, Angelo? Mr. Campit, Angelo Campit? Angelo Campit is absent, no? Campit, again, Campit Angelo. Okay, absent po yan. So again, if you're not going to participate, you're absent. Wala po kayo dito, no? So don't just open your big blue button, then leave me talking here, okay? So nasasayang po yung oras nyo. How about Miss Aliyah Seria? Miss Seria? Why do we provide steel and concrete? Okay, so Miss Aliyah is actually correct. So to resist po yung tension. Yeah. That is correct, para po ma-resist yung tension. So basically, if we are going to be asked kung bakit po natin kailangan mag-provide ng steel sa concrete, that is because concrete is very strong in compression but relatively weak in tension. Madali pong mag-crack si concrete without the reinforcement. So kapag hindi tayo naglalagay ng bakal, madali siyang mag-crack. So basically, if you have a beam that is actually loaded at the center, then magbe-bend po yung beam natin downward. Basically, you have the compression at the top and tension at the bottom. Since the concrete is very weak or relatively weak in tension, after niyang ma-reach, without the reinforcement, after niyang ma-reach yung modulus of rupture, it will have a sudden fracture, no? Bigla na lang po magbe-break yung concrete, parang yung concrete cylinder. So without the reinforcement, it will have a sudden fracture. That is because ano na nga po yung material, ano na nga pong type ng material yung concrete? That is because, bakit po siya nagkakaroon ng sudden fracture? Because concrete is actually brittle. The concrete is actually brittle. That is why, kapag nag-apply po tayo ng load without the reinforcement, it will have sudden fracture. However, the solution is to add steel reinforcement. Kapag naglagay tayo ng bakal, if you are going to add a load at the center, the reinforcement or the steel reinforcement can actually resist the tension. So you have compression at the top and tension at the bottom. Compression at the top and then tension at the bottom. However, even though the concrete is weak in tension, the tension will be carried by the steel reinforcement. No? The tension will be carried by steel reinforcement. And it is an amazing transformation. Why? Because when you add steel reinforcement, the brittle concrete material becomes a ductile material. So it is an amazing transformation again because the brittle concrete becomes a ductile material. Ano po ibig sabihin ng ductile? Ductile is when the material can sustain large deformation without breaking. It means the material can sustain large deformation without breaking. So hindi po agad-agad siyang masisira kapag po ductile, no? So again, adding the steel reinforcement makes our concrete a ductile material. Ductile na po siya. So why do we need to use reinforcement in concrete construction? Basically, the first and a very important use of steel reinforcement is to resist the tensile forces. To resist the tensile forces, that is because our concrete is weak in tension. So kailangan po natin ng steel para mag-resist ng tension. Also, we also provide steel reinforcement in order to resist a portion of compression loading. To resist a portion of compression loading. Steel is not only good in tension. Ang kagandahan po sa steel, it is good in tension as well as compression. So maganda po yung steel because it is good in tension as well as compression. So if you're going to provide reinforcement in columns, let's say for example, you have this column. Kung magpo-provide po tayo ng reinforcement sa column and you apply an axial load, the reinforcement also resists the compression loading. So the reinforcement also resists the compression loading. So that is the second use of reinforcement, to resist a portion of compression loading. Next one is to resist diagonal tension and shear. To resist diagonal tension and shear. So, to resist diagonal tension and shear, ano na nga po yung diagonal tension? Diagonal tension is actually shear failure. So if you have a beam, let's say this is our beam. That is our beam, and then naglagay po tayo ng mga stirrups. Naglagay po tayo ng stirrups. And we know that the maximum shear location is actually at the support. So you will have a diagonal cracking. So again, kapag po meron tayong diagonal cracking means shear failure, no? This is shear failure. So kapag may shear failure, the shear reinforcement or the stirrups actually acts as a stapler. So yung stirrups po natin na nilalagay para yung stapler na nag-hold ng concrete. Ino-hold niya po yung concrete para hindi mag-break, no? So basically another use of reinforcement is to resist diagonal tension or shear failure. Okay? So basically yan po yung mga stirrups po na yan po yung diniscuss natin last meeting. Yung nakaikot po sa beam natin. That is your stirrups. That's your stirrups. So lastly, the last reason or the last use of reinforcement is to limit crack widths and control spacing of cracks due to stress induced by temperature changes and shrinkage. So we have shrinkage cracking. Ano po ibig sabihin ng shrinkage cracking? So whenever a material, especially concrete material, is exposed to sudden changes in volume actually cause cracking. sudden changes in volume can cause cracking. Sir, bakit po magkakaroon ng change in volume yung ating concrete? Kapag mainit po, nag-expand yung concrete, lumalaki. So, whenever there's heat, kapag sobrang init, there will be expansion. Lalaki po yung ating concrete. Whenever there's a very low temperature, kapag naman malamig, it will, aside from expand, it will contract. So, kapag po malamig, nagko-contract. Kapag mainit, nag-expand. So, there's always a changes in temperature. So, okay. So, side note lang po tayo, no, para po ma-appreciate nyo yung changes in temperature. Napapansin nyo po sa mga bridges, may parang awang sa slab. Ano po yung tawag doon? Pag napapansin nyo po, kapag nagda-drive kayo sa bridges, parang may bakal sa gitna, parang may awang sa mga pier. So, ang tawag po doon is actually that is actually called expansion joint. Expansion joint in bridges. So, pakita ko lang po, ano, para ma-appreciate nyo yung dinidiscuss natin. So as you can see, in bridges po, nagpo-provide tayo ng parang bakal na ganito po. So if you've been to any bridges, meron tayong tinatawag na expansion joint. That expansion joint is actually for temperature changes. Kasi kapag sobrang init, dahil sobrang laki ng concrete volume mo, pwede magbabago po yung ating concrete, gumagalaw. Kaya po tayo nagpo-provide ng expansion joint. That is for the movement of the deck. Movement of the deck of concrete. When kapag sobrang init, lalaki, mag-expand. Kapag sobrang init, mag-contract. Okay? That is for the movement. So basically, sudden changes in volume can actually cause cracking. Kaya po, to limit the crack widths due to cracking, due to any temperature changes, we provide additional reinforcement. Yung additional reinforcement po na yun is just minimum reinforcement, no? So basically, to avoid cracking, provide minimum reinforcement. And that minimum reinforcement is also called as temperature bars. Ito po yung temp bars. So nagpo-provide po tayo ng temp bars para kahit gumalaw yung concrete mo, hindi siya magka-crack. Make sense? Naintindihan po ako? Okay. Another thing that basically this is also to answer yung one-way slab distribution po natin. So last time we talk about the one-way slab and we mentioned na kapag one-way slab yung slab natin, we only provide reinforcement in one direction kapag one-way slab. However, as I've said, kahit po one-way slab yan, maglalagay ka pa rin ng reinforcement on the other direction. That is minimum reinforcement for temperature changes. Yun yung tinatawag po natin na temp bars. So again, kapag po one-way slab, even though we only provide the reinforcement in one direction, we provide reinforcement on the other direction for minimum requirements. And that minimum requirements is for temperature bars. That is for the movement, no? When there is, if that's too hot or too hot, gagalaw po siya. Okay? It's too cold, gagalaw din naman siya. Another cause of cracking is actually what we call creep, no? Another cause of cracking is what we call creep. So what is creep? Basically, creep is the stress. This is the stress due to sustained loading. Kapag sinabi po nating sustained, it means nilagay mo po yung load ng sobrang tagal. Let's say for example, you get a rubber band. Kapag kumuha ka po ng laste ng rubber band, and then in-stretch mo siya, and then iniwanan mo po muna siya siguro mga 1 month na siyang naka-stretch. Kapag binitawan mo po yun, hindi na yun babalik sa dating normal na rubber band. That is because nagkaroon na po yun ng tinatawag natin na creep deformation. Kasi sa sobrang tagal ng sustained load, nagkaroon na ng creep deformation. So that is creep. That is creep. So creep is actually stress due to sustained loading. No? Creep is a stress due to sustained loading. And again, we provide minimum reinforcement in order to limit crack widths coming from shrinkage and creep. So what are the sizes of longitudinal bars? So we have a common nominal diameter available in the market. We have 10 mm, 12 mm, 16 mm, 10, 12, 16, 20 mm. We have 20 millimeter, 25 millimeter, 28, 32, 36. So the most common, especially for housing, for common housing, we mostly use 16 or 12. Kapag po mga special projects na we went to, especially kapag 2-3 story, we go to 25 or 28. If mga talagang high-rise building, we go to 32, 36. For stirrups naman, the most common is 10 or 12. This is for stirrups. This is for stirrups. Common is 10 or 12. So the nominal length of steel available in the market is 6 meter. We have 6 meter, 7.5 meter, we have 9 meter, we have 10.5 meter, and lastly, we have 12 meters. So the strength of your longitudinal bars also varies depending on your requirement, depending po sa paggagamitan. For example, if you are going to use it as a stirrups, maybe you just need 275 megapascal, then you order 275, no? It depends on kung saan mo gagamitin. So the strength, usually in construction site, kapag po pumunta kayo sa construction site, the strength is actually color-coded. So ang ginagawa po sa construction site, kinokoloran po ito, no? Color-coded po yung ating mga bakal. So the strength is dependent on the color na nilagay natin, color coding. So color-coded po yung mga bakal. So we have different strength as per ASTM. Sa ASTM, we have 33 KSI. We have 40 KSI. We have 60 KSI. For Philippine National Standard, which is PNS, Philippine National Standard, PNS, we have 230 megapascal. We have 275 megapascal. We have also 415 megapascal. And then for NSCP, we have 230 megapascal. We have this is 280 megapascal. And this is 420 megapascal. And for the color coding, for 230 megapascal, what we use is white. This is white. This is For 280 megapascal, we use yellow. And lastly, for 420, we have green. So white, yellow, and green. White, yellow, and green. So again, kapag pupunta kayo sa construction site, the strength is color-coded. Color-coded po yan. What do you call this type of reinforcement? Ano po tawag natin on that type of reinforcement? This one? What do we call to that type of reinforcement? Let's say, natawa ko na po si, about Cortez. Cortez Camille. Saimina. What do we call to this type of reinforcement? Cortez. Cortez, are you here, Cortez? What do we call to this type of reinforcement? Familiar po ba? This is actually the mesh. No? That is mesh. So yung mesh po, it's basically a small bars na naka-criss-cross na. Naka-mesh na po siya. Typically, you can use that for slab. Pwede nyo pong gamitin yan for slab. Naka-mesh na siya. You can provide reinforcement in both direction in just one layout. Okay? So going into the stress-strain relationship of steel, basically, it's not that different with reinforced concrete. So if we see the stress-strain relationship, this will be Fs now. Fs to Es. We have the proportionality limit, basically straight lang po yan. You have this, that is the A is the proportionality limit. You have the elastic limit. And then you will have strain hardening. Ibig sabihin po ng strain hardening, you will have an increase in stress. Lalaki po yung capacity niya. And then you will reach point C, that is the ultimate point. And then you will have necking until you reach your rupture point. So what is necking? So necking is actually the concentration of strain in just one location. Kapag po nagkakaroon ng necking, nako-concentrate yung strain natin in just one location. So let's say for example like this. So let's say this is your that is your bar exposed to tension load. So ito po yung bakal natin, in-expose natin sa tension, hinila natin. So after some time, kapag po na-reach nyo na yung ultimate point, it will have a concentrated strain. Magkakaroon po siya ng concentrated strain. So liliit po yung area, no? And this type of phenomena is actually called necking. Imagine po ba yung concentration ng strain? Nako-concentrate po siya. Because your material ayaw pong mag-break ng material because steel is a ductile material. It is a ductile material. So it can resist large deformation without breaking. Nagde-deform po siya ng malaki before siya mag-break. That is why it even has necking. Nagkakaroon pa po ng necking. Can you imagine this necking? Na-imagine po ba tong necking na dinrawing ko? Nagkakaroon po ng concentrated deformation. Okay? Do you have any question? Meron po ba tayong question? Okay. I have a good question, sir. I have a good question here. May question po dito. Will the cracks weaken the concrete po, or as long as the metal bars po, reliable pa rin yung concrete? So as a structural engineer, as an engineer po, kapag nakakita kayo ng crack and you know na hindi pa po nag-yield si concrete, kahit po magkaroon ng crack yung beam, kung alam mo po yung principle ng reinforced concrete, you know na kahit po magkaroon ng crack, hindi siya magbe-break. So, basically, kapag nakakita ka po ng crack sa beam, alam mo na hindi siya masisira. However, that is in your opinion as an engineer. Kaya lang po, pagka pinakita mo yan sa public na merong crack, it will not be serviceable. Kaya nga po, kailangan natin i-satisfy, dito na po bumabalik yung pinag-usapan natin ng Module 1, we need to satisfy both working strength design and ultimate strength design. For working strength design, that is the serviceability. I-check natin yung stress in order to make sure na during its service, hindi po siya magkakaroon ng hindi siya magka-crack, hindi siya magkakaroon ng large deformation. But basically, in terms of, as an engineer, in terms of ultimate strength, kahit po merong crack yan, alam mo na hindi pa po siya masisira agad. You know that it can still resist kasi nga may bakal pa po sa loob, no? So, as in engineering point of view, kahit po may crack ang isang material or isang member, hindi po siya agad masisira because of the steel reinforcement. Make sense po? Naintindihan po yun sa nagtanong sa akin. Sorry, kanina pa po yata yung question na yun, no? Ngayon ko lang nasagot. Okay. So in engineering point of view, kahit po makakita tayo ng cracks, especially flexural cracks po, hindi yun, hindi yun life-threatening. Hindi yun life-threatening. Because flexural crack is a ductile failure. Ibig sabihin, kaya pa po niyang mag-deform ng sobrang laki bago siya bumagsak. Okay? So we will also talk about that in ultimate strength design. Okay? Basically, we have 3 stages that we can consider. So let's first consider a simply supported beam. So if you have a simply supported beam that has a load of, let's say, W, and the span of the beam is S, this is S. So you can plot the shear and moment diagram by just plotting the shear diagram. This is your shear diagram. The maximum shear is WS over 2, WS over 2. And then you can take the area of the shear diagram to calculate for the maximum moment. The maximum moment for simply supported is WL squared over 8. And knowing that it is simply supported, you have the compression at the top and tension at the bottom. So as we say, mahina po yung concretes in terms of tension. So concrete is relatively weak in terms of tension. That is why, kung nasan po yung tension, dun siya magka-crack. Kung nasan po yung tension, dun siya magka-crack. So first, let's consider the stage 1. That is the uncrack stage. So first is when the stress in the tension side is less than FR, it means that your concrete is actually uncracked. If the stress on the tension side is less than FR, ano na nga po ulit yung FR? What is FR? What is the tension stress? Kung kailan po magka-crack si concrete? The next is How about Mr. Francis Cruz? Francis Cruz? Francis Francis Gabriel Cruz. Wala po si Cruz dito, so absent po, ano? So again, nasasayang po yung oras nyo kung hindi naman po kayo nagpa-participate. Okay? So, Cruz is absent. Regine? Dapadap? So, Regine is actually here. So, the answer is modulus of rupture. That is correct. So, we have the modulus of rupture. Ito po yung pinag-usapan natin kanina. So, according to NECP, the modulus of rupture is actually the modulus of rupture is 0.62 lambda square root of Fc prime. So, yun po yung modulus of rupture, yung FR. Okay? So, if the tension stress, again, if the tension stress is less than the modulus of rupture, then your concrete is actually uncracked, no? So if the concrete is uncracked, you can you can now neglect the reinforcement in stress calculation. Again, if uncracked po yung beam natin, it means that Ft is less than the modulus of rupture, you can neglect the reinforcement in stress calculation. Stage 2 is the concrete when the concrete is cracked but the stress in the beam is linear. So, stage 2, kailan po magka-crack si concrete? Kapag si tension stress is greater than Fr, then concrete is cracked. Again, if Ft is greater than Fr, then the concrete is cracked. Then that means na below the neutral axis, yung magka-crack po na beam or magka-crack na concrete, this will not be ineffective. This will now be ineffective. Ineffective na po yung nag-crack na beam. Not yung nag-crack na beam, yung nag-crack na concrete. The concrete will now be disregarded in the stress calculation, and all the tension will be carried by the steel reinforcement. So all the tension will now be carried by the steel. However, the stress in concrete is still linear. So as you can see, we have the stress in concrete and the stress is still linear. Ano na nga po yung design methodology if the stress is linear? What is the design methodology? We have WSD. So, stage 2, we are going to use stage 2 sa working stress design. Gagamitin po natin yung stage 2 sa working stress design. Stage 3, when the concrete is cracked and the stress in the beam is nonlinear. So again, concrete is cracked, so all tension is carried by reinforcement. So all the tension is carried by steel. However, for this stage 3, the stress distribution is now nonlinear. So if you have a nonlinear stress distribution, so that means this will be ultimate strength design. So stage 2 will be WSD, stage 3 will be USD. No? So now let's talk about first sorry. Uh, so now let's talk about the stages of beam failure. We have the uncrack stage, basically when the concrete resists compression and tension with concrete tensile stress below the modulus of rupture. So again, the tension is less than the modulus of rupture. When the moment is less than the cracking moment. So the cracking moment is actually your MCR. The cracking moment is the moment required in order to crack your concrete. Moment required to crack your concrete. So that is called MCR. Next stage is actually called the crack stage. Member carries the bending moment greater than the cracking moment. So kapag po yung moment na kine-carry ng member is greater than the cracking moment, magka-crack yung beam. In this stage, the steel carries all the tensile force and the stresses are below the elastic range. And the last stage will be the collapse stage. However, elastic lang po ito, no? So this will be linear. Okay, so sorry, let's continue. So basically, for crack stage, the stresses are below the elastic range. Ibig sabihin po linear. So we are going to use this for WST. And then for lastly, the collapse stage. Again, for ultimate strength design, we are going to consider that the beam is actually on the verge of collapsing. Malapit na pong mag-collapse. Member collapses either by crushing of concrete or yielding of steel bars. So that means we have nonlinear, and this will be for USD. That is for ultimate strength design. Okay, the cracking moment is the moment where the concrete crashes in tension and becomes ineffective. So ibig sabihin po kapag na-reach na nung beam, ang dinadala niya po is greater than the cracking moment, then that means that the concrete will crush in tension. The concrete will crush in tension and becomes ineffective. After this stage, the whole tension will be carried by the steel reinforcement. So beyond the cracking moment, the whole tension will now be carried by the steel reinforcement. Ang magdadala na po is the steel reinforcement. So how do we calculate the cracking moment? The cracking moment is actually given by a simple formula. We know that MCR. We know that the modulus of rupture is just the stress. Stress is given as the moment, MCR, multiplied by the distance to the neutral axis, MCR YT over IG. So MC over I lang po, no? MC over I. And MCR will be the cracking moment. This is actually your cracking moment. That is your cracking moment. So if we want to solve for cracking moment, just rearrange the variables. We have the cracking moment is equal to FR multiplied by IG divided by YT. So where FR is actually the modulus of rupture, FR is the modulus of rupture, which is 0.62 lambda square root of Fc prime. IG is the gross moment of inertia. For IG, we are going to neglect the steel bars, so basically concrete only. And YT is the distance from the centroid to the extreme tension fiber. So basically, if you have this beam, ito po yung beam natin. For example, this will be the base width and this is the depth. So if this is the centroid, if that is the centroid, then this will be YT. No, that is YT. YT is the distance from the centroid to the extreme tension fiber. Okay, so you have YT. So we can also define cracking moment. Cracking moment is basically the capacity of the beam. This is the capacity of your beam before the concrete crashes in tension. So again, cracking moment is the capacity of your beam before the concrete, not crashes, cracks. Not crashes, cracks po. Ano? Before the concrete cracks in tension. So the modulus of rupture is given as 0.62 lambda square root of Fc prime. But in English units, you can also use this one. In English units, this is in terms of PSI. FR will be equal to 7.5 lambda square root of Fc prime. Where Fc prime should be in PSI. Dapat po yung Fc prime nyo in terms of PSI. Okay? Are we clear with the concept of cracking moment? Basically, kapag na-reach niya po yung cracking moment na yun, magka-crack na si beam. Let's have an example for concrete cracking. Example po tayo ng concrete cracking. So for the beam shown, determine the following. First is stress at the bottom of the beam when moment is 33 kilonewton meter. And first of all, let's determine the cracking moment. And we are going to use normal weight concrete of 28 megapascal with concrete cover of 40 millimeters and diameter of the stirrups 10 millimeters. So basically, our concrete cracking can be determined by using a simple formula that the stress is equal to moment, MCR, YT, divided by IG. And then rearranging the variables, we have MCR is equal to FR, IG divided by YT. FR, IG divided by YT, where FR, that is the modulus of rupture. The modulus of rupture is given by our code as 0.62 lambda square root of Fc prime. So substituting, that is 0.62. Substituting the values, we have 0.62. Lambda is 1, square root of Fc prime, which is 28. How much is the modulus of rupture? This is 3.28 megapascal. 3.28 megapascal. And then we need to also calculate the IG, the gross moment of inertia. Gross moment of inertia without considering the steel. without considering the steel. So what is the gross moment of inertia of a rectangle? Ano po ang gross moment of inertia of a rectangle? Tapos na po si... Okay, so we have that is BH cube over 12. So basically BH cube over 12. So substituting the value, that will be base is 300, height is 450, cube over 12. So what is our I gross? In terms of times 10 raised to 9 nga po, times 10 raised to 9, that is 2.278 millimeter to the fourth. And then we can now calculate for MCR. MCR is first let's figure out YT. The distance from the centroid. So basically this will be our centroid. The centroid is the center of the beam. Because this is a simple rectangle. Rectangle lang naman po yan, no? So if that is the centroid, this will be YT. So YT will be equal to centroid is located at the center. So kung located po yan sa gitna, this will be 450 over 2. This is 225. So substituting the values, we have FR as 3.28, IG as 2.278 times 10 raised to 9, divided by YT, which is 225. The answer is this is 3.32, 33.22, or 33.21 times 10 raised to 9, tama? Times 10 raised to 6 Newton millimeter. Kaya, but take note, what we inputted is in megapascal, Newton, and millimeter. So the answer will be in Newton millimeter. Divide it by times 10 raised to 6 to make it kilonewton meter. The answer will be 33.21 kilonewton meter. Pag dinivide nyo po ng times 10 raised to 6. Okay? So this will be our cracking moment. That is our cracking moment. So the next question will be to calculate the stress at the bottom of the beam when the moment is 33 kilonewton. So if the moment is 33 kilonewton, let's write it down, no? Stress the stress when moment is equal to 33 kilonewton meter. The stress when the moment is 33 kilonewton meter. So we already know that our the moment is actually less than MCR. So if the moment is less than the cracking moment, what can we say about our section? Is it crack or uncrack? If the moment, the applied moment, which is 33, is less than our MCR, what can we say about our section? Is it crack or uncrack? Uncracked. So this is actually stage 1. Uncracked. Okay? So kapag uncracked po ang ating section, we can neglect we can neglect the steel reinforcement and use IG in stress calculations. So that means ang gagamitin po natin is the gross moment of inertia, and we already have this gross moment of inertia, no? So the tension at the bottom, which is when the moment is 33 kilonewton meter, can be solved as moment MC over I, that is equal to 33 times 10 raised to 6 to make it kilonewton millimeter. YT is 225. IG is, what is our I gross? 2.278. times 10 raised to 9. So you can now calculate the stress. What is the stress? This is our stress at the bottom. This is your stress at the bottom. What's the answer? We have 3.26 megapascal. Wag pong malilito, no? Sir, bakit po T? FT. FT is just the stress in tension, no? FT is referring to tension. Sir, nasan po yung tension? Yung tension kung nasan yung bakal. Kaya nga po nasa baba tayo kasi andun po yung bakal. So ang tension po natin side, the tension side will be this one. This is your tension side. So wag pong malilito kung FT, hindi po top yun, no? Hindi po yung top. FT is the stress in tension. Okay? Is that clear? Stress in tension is 3.26. Clear po tayo doon? Okay? So, let's try to answer this problem po. For this one, this is not a simple rectangular beam. So this is a T-beam. So we need to also calculate for the cracking moment. So in order to calculate for the cracking moment, we need to use Barignon's theorem. So gamit po tayo ng Barignon's theorem. Basically, Barignon's theorem is, if you recall from your statics, so that is the area total multiplied by the Y top, or basically Y tension, YT, is equal to area 1, Y1 plus area 2, Y2. So in this case, I will divide my section into two area. This will be my area 1 and this will be my area 2. Okay? And we need to define the centroid. Kaya po tayo magbabarignon theorem para malaman kung nasan yung centroid. Kasi kailangan po natin hanapin yung centroid. Doon po sa kabila, doon sa isang problem natin, it is very easy to locate the centroid kasi nga rectangle lang. But for this one, we need to locate the centroid. This will be your neutral axis. So this is your centroid. So we need to determine kung ano po yung location niya. Basically, the distance. This will be YT. So I will make this as my reference line. This will be my reference line. The bottom will be my reference line. So let's use Barignon's theorem. Basically, the moment of area of the section. Moment of area. First, let's define the total area. We have the first section, we have 675 multiplied by 300 plus the second section, that is 1,500 multiplied by 125 and then multiplied by YT is equal to the first area, area 1. Area 1 is a square, so that will be 675. Area is 675 multiplied by 300. Multiplied by, what is the distance from the centroid of area 1 to the reference line? Ano po yung distance from the centroid of area 1 to the reference line? How about De Guzman, John Gabriel? The 337.5, or basically that is 675 over 2. So this is area 1 and this is Y1, no? Y1. Plus continuing the moment of area, area 2 naman po, area 2, that will be 1,500 multiplied by 125. Next one, De Vera, Maria Luisa. What is the distance from the centroid of area 2 from the reference line? Centroid of area 2 from the reference line. So that will be 6, which is correct, 675 plus 125, no? 125 over 2. And that will be squared. No, walang squared, sorry. 1,500 times 125 multiplied by 675 plus 125 over 2. So that is the distance from the reference line to the centroid of area 2. So you can now solve for YT. What is YT? What is YT? $529.81. So 529.81 millimeter. So after we determine the location of the centroid, so we already know the location of the centroid, what we need to find is to calculate the gross moment of inertia. So kailangan po natin yung gross moment of inertia. So calculating the gross moment of inertia, now we already know the position of the neutral axis. So let's say this is our neutral axis. The depth of the neutral axis will be 529.81. And coming from the top, let's say this one. Coming from the top, this will be 675 plus 125 minus 529.81. What's that value? 270.19. 270.19. So calculating for the moment of inertia. So again, we are going to divide the section into area 1. This is area 2. Area 1 and area 2. And calculating the moment of inertia, we are going to use parallel axis theorem. So I gross will be equal to I and A. If we are considering area 1, kuhanin nyo lang po yung moment of inertia from the centroid of area 1 plus the transfer formula, area d squared. So this is actually called parallel axis theorem. So I and A plus area d squared. So let's solve for I gross considering area 1 po muna. Let's solve for area 1. Area 1, that is just a rectangle. So BH cube over 12. So the base is 300. Height is 675. Cube over 12. Plus transfer formula. I-transfer po natin sa neutral axis. Sa panibagong neutral axis. So the area is 675 multiplied by 300. Multiplied by the distance. That is coming from the centroid of that area to the new centroid. That is 529.81. Let's say, for example, this is the centroid of that area. The centroid of that area is actually 675 over 2, right? So, ang hinahanap po natin na distance is coming from the centroid of the area 1 to the neutral axis. So, basically, ito po yung D1. Yan po yung D. So, basically, para po makuha natin yung D1, that is 529.81 minus 675 over 2 squared. Clear po doon sa transfer formula, parallel axis theorem. Review lang po ito ng statics. Clear po doon? Okay, plus, so this is actually for area 1. All of this is for area 1. Plus area 2. Add po natin sa area 2. That will be the base. Base is 1,500. The height is 125 cube over 12. Plus the area, which is 1,500 multiplied by 125. The distance, basically if this is the centroid of area 2, so we need to find this distance. This will be D2. That will be 270.19 minus 125 over 2 squared. This is for area 2. Calculating for I gross, the gross moment of inertia. We have 2.35 times 10 raised to 10 millimeter to the fourth. Okay. So now we can now calculate for the cracking moment, FR. So we have YT. Ito po yung YT natin, no? FR is equal to 0.62 lambda square root of FC prime. So that is 0.62 lambda is 1 square root of 28. Our modulus of rupture is modulus of rupture is 3.28, right? 3.28 megapascal. And then calculating for MCR, the cracking moment, that is FR IG over YT. FR is 3.28. I gross is 2.35 times 10 raised to 10 divided by YT, which is 529.81. So our MCR divided by times 10 raised to 6 to make it kilonewton meter. We have 145.49. 145.49 kilonewton meter. Okay? So this is our cracking moment. That is our cracking moment. So now let's calculate the top and bottom stress. So let's calculate the stress at the top and bottom when moment is equal to 108 kilonewton meter. So basically our cracking moment is 145. Our moment that we need to calculate for stress is 108. Is it crack or uncracked? Crack or uncracked? Nag-crack po ba or hindi? Uncracked. ang cracking moment mo po 145 ang moment mo lang 108. So again, less than pa din. Moment M is less than MCR, so uncrack. So again, use IG. Gamitin mo po si gross moment of inertia. So let's calculate the stress at the top. Stress at top. So to calculate the stress at the top, that will be the stress at the top is the compression stress. So FC po yung gagamitin ko, no? FC is equal to basically MYC divided by IG. So the moment is 108 times 10 raised to 6 to make it kilonewton meter. YC is basically the distance from the neutral axis to the top, and that is, what is the distance from the neutral axis to the top fiber? Ano po yung distance from the neutral axis to top fiber? $270.19. So we have 270.19 divided by the I gross. I gross is 2.35 times 10 raised to 10. So we can now calculate the stress at the top, which is equal to 1.24 megapascal. We can also calculate the stress at the bottom. Stress at the bottom, which is FT, stress, tension, stress, ibig sabihin. So we have moment, YT, divided by IG. So this is 108 times 10 raised to 6, divided, multiply by YT, which is 529.81, divided by IG, 2.35 times 10 raised to 10. So what is our stress at the bottom? We have 2.43. So basically, if we're going to draw the stress strain diagram, we have the tension stress at the top, 1.24 MPa, and the compression stress at the bottom, which is 2.43. Sorry, the compression stress at the top, which is 1.24, the tension stress at the bottom, which is 2.43. Okay? Compression at the top, tension at the bottom. So this is compression stress. And this is tension stress. Any question about this problem? Any question? Okay. I have a question. Let's ask someone, no? So, how about for a cantilever beam? For a cantilever beam po, nasan po ang tension? Where's the tension side? About Mr. Aaron Ferreira. Mr. Aaron Ferreira. Nasan po ang tension side? For a compression, for a cantilever beam, sa support, consider po sa support. Let's say sa support. Nasan po ang ating sa support po? Okay, so basically at the support you have tension at the top. So you have tension at the top, tension. And this is compression. So again, if you have tension at the top, this will be your YT, no? Ito po yung YT natin. Again, the YT will be depending on kung nasan yung tension. Kung nasan po yung tension, yun yung YT nyo. Okay? Kasi nga po, kung nasan si tension, dun magka-crack yung beam. Kung nasan si tension, dun po magka-crack yung beam. Make sense? Are we clear with that? Kung nasan po yung tension, dun magka-crack si beam. Okay, so I will cut the discussion here. I will continue again on Friday. On